Do you lock your doors at night when you're home alone? Even during the daytime when your entire family's home? Well, if you don't, you should start now. Because locking your doors one time might save you from someone like the Vampire of Sacramento, also known as Richard Trenton Chase. Chase was born on May 23rd, 1950, into an abusive household. He had an extremely strict mother and an extremely abusive father. His father would abuse him mentally and physically. From a young age, Chase exhibited two of the three traits from the McDonald triad, and early in his teenage life, he became an alcoholic. In Chase's teenage years, he did have a handful of relationships, but they would often fail because of his odd tendencies and failure to understand relationships. He maintained grades of C's, D's, and F's all throughout high school, and was often bullied and teased for the way he acted and how he carried himself. During high school, Chase was also addicted to alcohol, LSD, and marijuana. For a short period of time, Chase would attend the American River College in California, maintaining C's, but he would never graduate. At the age of 25, after a dispute with his mother, Chase's parents put him in his own apartment, and this is when his rampage finally began. Now that he was finally alone, Chase began to capture animals, kill them, and then drink their blood, eat their raw flesh, and make smoothies out of their organs. Only a few months after living on his own, Chase would be institutionalized and sent to a hospital with blood poisoning after injecting the blood of a rabbit directly into his own veins. Chase would escape the hospital for a short period of time, but eventually be apprehended and sent to a mental hospital. In this mental hospital, Chase would capture two birds, ripping their heads off and drinking the blood from the decapitated bodies. This is where he would earn the name Dracula. While in the penitentiary, Chase would be prescribed multiple medications, and these medications would eventually lead to him becoming a normal citizen and being allowed to be released back into the world. Unfortunately, after Chase was released, his mother decided that he did not need these medications prescribed to him, and she slowly began to wean him off of them herself. Well, not long after Chase lived with his mother, they got into another argument, and he was sent to his own apartment again. And this is when his rampage truly began. Again, Chase began killing animals, but this time he would go after neighbors' pets. On one occurrence, even stealing a family's dog, and then calling them and telling them what he had done to it after he had defiled its body. On one such occasion, Chase would greet his mother at the door with a dead cat and throw it in her face. He would then jump on the cat's deceased corpse, rip it open, and smear its entrails and blood all over his face. This is one of many, many occasions where those in his personal life fail to understand what is happening and report it before it gets worse. On another occasion, Chase is found at Pyramid Lake, Nevada, far from his hometown in California. Police find his truck stuck in the sand, and when they look inside, they find two rifles and a bucket filled with blood and a cow's liver. They then find Chase a few hundred feet away, naked and covered in blood. When he is asked what happened, he says the blood leaked from his own skin. This is another example of law enforcement and the justice system failing to understand what's going on and stopping it before it's too late. Chase would become obsessed with the Hillside Strangler, a pair of cousins who would kill people throughout California. He believed that they were going through the same Nazi UFO conspiracy that he believed he was going through. Chase believed that there was Nazi aliens trying to turn his blood into powder, and the only way to stop this was by drinking the blood and eating the raw flesh of others. The first. On December 29th, 1977, Chase would drive up to 51-year-old Ambrose Griffin, an engineer, husband, and father of two. Chase would shoot Ambrose multiple times with a .22 caliber weapon before driving off. The second, nearly a month later, on January 23rd, 1978, Chase would dwell around a local neighborhood, checking homes for unlocked doors. Chase believed that if a door was locked, it meant that he was not allowed to enter. He would first break into the home of a young married couple. He would break into their infant's room, urinate all over the walls, and defecate in the child's crib. He would then be chased out by the owners, who would never call the police. As Chase continued walking down, he found Teresa Wallen's home. Teresa was taking the trash out, and when she went to return inside of her home, Chase met her at the door. Chase shot her one time in the hand, which is a defensive wound, and twice in the head, killing her instantly. He would then drag her body to the bathroom, drink some of her blood, eat her organs, and then defile her body post-mortem. The final. 4 days after the murder of Teresa Wallen, on January 27th, 1978, Chase would again walk down the streets looking for an unlocked home. He would find the home of Evelyn Myroth and her son, Jason. Evelyn was also babysitting 22-month-old David Ferreira, and her neighbor, Dan, was also inside the home. Chase would walk up to the door and be met by Dan right in the entrance. He would shoot Dan once in the head, killing him instantly. He would then turn Dan's body over, take his wallet and his car keys. And as he was following Jason into his mother's room, he would shoot 22-year-old David in the head one time. He then followed Jason into his mother's room, shot him point blank in the head one time, killing him instantly. And then he would turn to the bathroom, where Evelyn Myroth was bathing. He would shoot her while she was still in the bathtub, killing her instantly. Chase then drags Evelyn's corpse to her bedroom, commits necrophilia, drinks her blood, eats some of her internal organs, and then harvests her blood and internal organs to take with him later. He then picks up 22-month-old David's corpse and takes it to the bathroom, where he attempts to split it open on the side of the bathtub and consume some of the brain matter. Shortly thereafter, a 6-year-old who had a play date with 6-year-old Jason knocks on the door. This startles Chase and causes him to flee the scene, taking 22-month-old David's corpse with him, along with some of the blood and organs from Evelyn Myroth's deceased body. Once he gets home, he consumes some of David's blood and turns his internal organs into smoothies. He then dumps David's body at a nearby church. These are some pictures of the rings left by the container that Chase used to harvest the blood of Teresa Wallen. And this is the box that 22-month-old David Ferreira's body was found in shortly after Chase was arrested. FBI agents Russ Vorpagel and Robert Ressler were assigned to find this suspected serial killer in Sacramento, California. They had already had a description of Chase: a tall, malnourished, unkempt, and grisly-looking man. A few days after the final murders, one of Chase's acquaintance from high school had seen him walking down the road and said to police that she believed that Chase was the one murdering these people. After this tip, police met Chase at his apartment, where they asked him to come outside. After he refused, they waited outside his apartment for Chase to exit. Chase exited, and after he was apprehended, police took a box from him that contained scraps of bloody wallpaper and the .22 caliber pistol used in all 3 murders. After Chase's apprehension, police would go inside of Chase's apartment, where they would find that almost every single surface was covered in blood, and that Chase had multiple internal organs and raw flesh of humans laying around his house. They also found the blender, where 22-month-old David Ferreira's internal organs and blood were blended up, along with those of animals.
The apartment was covered with blood. The couch was covered with blood. the kitchen counter, the sink, and the bathroom, on the carpet. There were strange-looking substance in jars in this.
So in that video, the man talks about the scene that they saw when they entered Chase's apartment. And as I mentioned earlier, blood covered every surface. Chase had many odd substances along with the blood and internal organs of his victims still in his home. The aftermath. Chase was found guilty of 6 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to death by the gas chamber. Although his defense tried to argue insanity, he was found legally sane and fit to withstand trial. As soon as Chase entered prison, he was immediately a feared presence. Many of the other prisoners tried to coerce Chase into committing suicide because they were too scared to kill him themselves. In interviews after he was arrested, Chase claimed that he was forced to kill so that he could stay alive, stating that there were many Nazi UFOs and aliens trying to turn his blood into powder and shrink his heart, and the only way he could stop this was by drinking the blood and consuming the organs of others. The end of Dracula. While Chase was in prison, he was prescribed 3 psychoactive medications. He would hoard these medications for weeks on end, until eventually one day, he took his entire stash in an attempt to take his own life. Unfortunately, Chase would succeed after prisoner guards found him dead lying in his own bed. Unfortunately, this means that Chase avoided his end in the gas chamber. In conclusion, Richard Chase killed 6 innocent people within a month. He's seen as a typical disorganized killer and an excellent model to this day for the FBI. In my opinion, this happened because of the failure on multiple levels in the justice system as well as those involved in Chase's personal life. This entire circumstance could have been avoided if people would have acted accordingly and could have understood what was about to happen.